It's finally here! T2 Trainspotting is the long-awaited sequel to Danny Boyle's 1996 breakout hit Trainspotting, which with his first film, Shallow Grave, put Danny Boyle on the map as one of Britain's best filmmakers. It also helped launch the careers of Ewan McGregor and its cast, with Ewan McGregor in particular being picked up for the Star Wars prequel films following the release and success of the original Trainspotting. Trainspotting's Academy Award-nominated screenplay followed a group of incredibly well-developed characters dealing with the heroin scene in the 1990s, as well as examining poverty and economic depression in Scotland, and is often considered sort of a landmark film in portraying realistic dialogue and settings and characters dealing with these sorts of situations. Now, Trainspotting is kind of what first-year film students like to use to impress their tutors. If they've seen Trainspotting, they'll be the first to let you know that they've seen that film. If they've seen that film and you haven't, then it's game over. They've got the upper hand on you in that first year of film school, even though they haven't really seen much else outside of Trainspotting. They love to let you know that they've seen Trainspotting and you haven't. Trainspotting, the original, is a film that I love. As a film, it really helped showcase how different dialogue could be portrayed, but it also wasn't afraid to confront you with its themes of poverty and drug addiction. And there's a number of sort of confronting scenes in the original Trainspotting, which people who have seen the original will know sort of the ones that I'm kind of talking about. But the original Trainspotting wasn't really afraid to push where it took you, and it was able to kind of unnerve you and really make you feel sympathetic towards these characters in a very strange way. With the sequel, we follow the original cast of the film, bringing everyone back, including director Danny Boyle and screenwriter John Hodge, with the film being a bit of a mash of Irvine Welsh's original Trainspotting novel and his sequel to that novel, Porno. Now, there's a lot of development over the years as to how to kind of market a sequel to Trainspotting, as it had been in discussion for many years, and they finally got it off the ground and ended up calling it T2 Trainspotting, which is a much more marketable name than Porno. But the film kind of ends up being a mash of both books. This time around, the film's kind of focused on the past kind of coming back to get you, as we see a lot of these characters coming back after 20 years and how time has all caught up with them, and we see where they all are in their lives at this point. So in that case, the film is very much a nostalgic sequel. It is deliberately self-referential, paying homage with film clips, visual cues, and music from the first film, and comes off as very much a film for fans only. As I mentioned, the film follows characters 20 years after the events of the first film. We have Mark, Rent Boy, Spud, Sick Boy, or Simon, and Franco Begbie. Even Diane is here, although Diane only gets a really short sort of cameo, one scene, so we don't really see too much of her, but our main cast is there. They're all back. The film kind of follows Franco, or Begbie, escaping from prison and wants revenge on Mark following the end of Trainspotting 1. And we kind of follow him eventually meeting up with Mark and Simon, who are up to a number of illegal deeds to raise money to convert a pub into a brothel, which is always fun. But we do have a newcomer, Veronica, played by Angela Nedyalkovic. No, Nedyalkova. I think that's it. I'm so sorry if the actress ever finds this video and discovers me trying to pronounce her name. I am so sorry. Veronica kind of inhibits the Mark role, the role that Ewan McGregor played from the first film. So she kind of plays that type of role throughout the film, and as you're watching, you kind of start to line things up and they start to kind of match. Just behavior and decisions that her character makes are very similar to what Mark makes in the first film. But the film pays a lot of respect to the original film. It's very much wrapping up the story from the original and feels kind of like an epilogue. This is the end of their story. This is the last time we kind of get to see all these guys together, as I don't think we're going to be waiting another 20 years to see them again. Huge props needs to be given to Danny Boyle, because he really is just a masterful director. I mean, everything in this film is so visually stunning. I mean, the cinematography and his camera work, like, it's one of the few people in the world that can make a Dutch angle work. Like, everything he shoots is just beautiful, and the way he uses the camera, the way he's able to manipulate the camera and manipulate time in this film, just using camera tricks. And even though there are visual effects in this film, a lot of it just comes down to how the film is edited and paced and shot, which no other director really does outside of a few other directors like Edgar Wright. But yes, there are more visual effects this time that are used, which has just really come with 20 years of experience that Danny Boyle has learned over time and through all the other films he's sort of directed over the years. So this is sort of like a kind of culmination, and so you can sort of see like an evolution of Danny Boyle as a director in this film from the original. If you put the original and this film together, you really get a good sense of how far Danny Boyle has kind of come as a director. But you also get to see how far the cast members have kind of evolved over the years. I mean, Ewan McGregor has kind of been in the spotlight over the years thanks to Star Wars, and he's probably fared the best out of the entire cast, but it's still kind of nice to see how all of them have gotten along over the years. But everyone here is really on point. Everyone seems to be having a great time, very much in tune with paying homage to the original film. No one really wants to leave a mark on that original film. They all know how important it is to them and to the audience. And I'll admit, this film is actually a lot funnier than I remember the original being as well. And just some great kind of dark humor in this, but it has a nice kind of wicked sense of humor. And I watched this with a Canadian audience, and some of the humor kind of went over their heads. It's very sort of more in line with what people in Britain would find funny. So a lot of the humor kind of went over the Canadian audience's heads. So I think it's really going to depend on where you're from, whether you find some of the jokes funny or not. But one thing I will say is that the relationship and connection that we have with these characters kind of comes more based on what we experienced with them in the original film. All we're really seeing is sort of an extension of what they went through in the original film. This film isn't as confronting as the original. This really is more of an epilogue to the original film. If you've never seen the original film, and mind you, the original film's over 20 years old, and you're kind of curious about Trainspotting 2, I mean, you will be lost if you haven't seen the original film, as this film relies so heavily on the original for its plot, as T2 uses so much from the original film. A number of times actual film clips are used, just referencing the past, where these characters have come from, which is really great for fans of Trainspotting and makes it quite nostalgic for everyone. And the characters actually bring it up in the film. They realize that everything they're kind of going through is more of a nostalgic factor rather than trying to do something new, I guess. I do feel like there is a slight over-reliance on referencing the original film, which I think it's really going to depend on how much that affects you or not. I didn't mind it too much, but I know if I was a newcomer watching this, I would have no idea what's going on in the film. So the film kind of ends up forgetting to be its own film while being sort of obsessed with homaging the original. So that's my only real gripe and complaint. It's just the film is so obsessed with being self-referential to the original that it just hurts anyone else's chances of actually enjoying the film. But ultimately, this is a great time at the movies. It's just not as good as the original. Very much a film for Trainspotting fans. So if you're a Trainspotting fan, go and see it. The release for this film has kind of been all over the place. It's been releasing in different parts of the world at different times. Some places have had it in a limited release, and only now in Canada it's got like a wide release. So it really depends on where you are. Again, some people would have already seen it, but if you're in the States or you're in Canada, you should be having a wide release now. So do go and check it out if you are a Trainspotting fan. Otherwise, if it's not out where you are, keep an eye out for when it is coming out, or if it's available to buy or rent on Blu-ray or on digital HD. Give it a watch, see what you think. Otherwise, if you haven't seen either of these Trainspotting films, pick up the original, go watch it. It's one of the all-time great character study films of, the last 20 years. And there is some confronting things in there, but it ultimately is just an experience that is worth taking. And this is kind of just icing on the cake for any Trainspotting fans. So for me personally, I'm giving Trainspotting 2 an 8 out of 10 because personally I love the original Trainspotting film, and this is kind of just giving me a bit more of what I want as a Trainspotting fan. So, but it doesn't get full marks because again, it's just, I definitely feel like people who aren't fans of the original are going to feel lost and alienated if they walk into this film blindly. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, do hit the thumbs up button and leave a comment down below. Are you planning to see T2 Trainspotting? If not, let me know as well. Let's have a discussion down in the comments. If you have seen it, do let me know. If you want more content like this, do hit the subscribe button. I'll be able to get content like this out a lot more frequently. And don't forget, you can also follow The Mono Report on Facebook and Twitter at The Mono Report. Thanks guys, and stick right here for your Mono Fix. Bye.